Joffrey, Renly, Robb Stark are all thieves. They'll bend the knee or I'll destroy them.
The royal host made its way through the tightly packed streets of Severnsport to the cheers and excitement of the small folk, who had all eagerly gathered to see their future king wed. The streets sounded even more alive than they had been for Aengar's coronation. What a sight it must have been. He wished his eyes had lasted just a bit longer to allow him to witness such a special day. Aengar and Ambrose led their way. Sir Flake, Sir Firehand, Sir Silvereye and Sir Lennox Sevenstar, Aengar's brother Owen's son, surrounded them on all sides along with many of the household guard, as they made their progression to the great sept of snow which laid atop a high hill close to the White Knife. Aengar steadied himself by leaning upon Ambrose's shoulder, trying not to show the people the frail condition he was now in. His son and knights had urged him to be carried in a litter, but Aengar would not allow for such a show of weakness, or to have the ceremony performed in the castle. Instead, again, he would not allow it. It must be beneath the eyes of the gods within the greatest sept in all of the kingdom. "We're almost there now, father," Ambrose told him. "I do hope she is all you and my aunt promised." "As do I," thought Aengar nervously. After months of searching and planning, the preparations were finally ready. His son and heir Ambrose would be wed to Renny of the Hill, a young Andal beauty born in the sacred Holy Lands where the first Andal king Hugor had ruled. She was said to be pious, kind, smart and beautiful. Septons and Septors alike said she was the maiden reborn, the perfect match for the future king of Andalia. House Sevenstar were the gods' chosen kings. Ambrose was said to be the warrior reborn by many. By marrying Renny of the Hill, 2 of the 7 would be joined in wedlock. No Andal or Septon could ever doubt Ambrose's right to rule, and his heirs after him would be the thing of legend, children of the gods. The existence of Renny had been brought to him by his twin sister Jonquil through her daughter Gretchel, whose young and promising Septon had discovered her on a pilgrimage of the Andal homelands of northern Andalos. Aengar trusted Jonquil more than he'd ever trusted anyone. If she believed this was the right match and the girl was as special as she'd told him, he had no doubt it was the right choice. Jonquil had now been claimed by the stranger, ripping half of Aengar's soul from him. She had never failed him, always giving him solid counsel and helping him make the right decisions. This marriage would be her last great gift to him, securing Ambrose and the Sevenstar line before Aengar could finally pay a long overdue visit to the stranger and all those he had lost. His only regret about the marriage was the fact it hadn't taken place before Aengar's eyes had begun to fail him. The young Septon who had brought Renny back from Andalos would be performing the ceremony. His High Holiness the High Septon had recently passed. First thought to be of natural causes, but after Pera Hornsby had performed a closer inspection, she had discovered he was poisoned. Who would do such a thing to the gods chosen was a terrible thing to consider. The killer would be found, however, and punished greatly. Aengar demanded the young Septon perform the wedding, as he refused to wait for the new High Septon to be chosen. Who knew how long that could take, and Aengar intended to make sure the wedding was performed before his health further deteriorated. The young man was more than willing to do as his king commanded. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Citadel with me, Grand Maester Stitch, where we're carrying on with the Knights of the North as King Aengar in the Kingdom of Andalia, the Andal Kingdom of the North. Now, we had a big event in the introduction, as you can see, and obviously for those of you who have been watching the series a long time will know that poor old Aengar, now 64 years old, is not the man he once was. He's still a great man whose name will go down in history, but he's very ill. He suffers with bad headaches, still got diarrhea. He's blind from old age most of all though. And yeah, he is not in the best state. I'd be very surprised if he lasts more than a couple more episodes. But as we learned from the introduction, he has finally done his last plan. Well, he's got his last conquest, which is still going on, to take Silverreed, to give us a buffer zone below Sevensguard, Moat Cailin. But the last main thing he needed to do was to make sure his heir was married to carry on the family name, and Prince Ambrose obviously got married in the introduction to Renny of the Hill as she is known, who came from over the narrow sea in the high hill lands of Andalia, where the first Andal king Hugor the Hill reigned. So I think it's pretty obvious what their first child will be called if it happens. But yes, people see her as the Maiden Reborn. But let's have a little look at this character then. Very good diplomacy, as you can see. Very beautiful woman. She is an expert scientist, attractive, quick, a poet, a socializer. She's trusting, diligent, temperate, chaste, charitable, patient, kind, humble, erudite, and honest. She's got all of the 7 virtues. As you can see, she's a very pious, virtuous young woman, but she doesn't hate those of other religions. She's very understanding. But yep, so we now have our heir married, which is going to be brilliant. Hopefully they will give us some children in the future. And I've just realised that is awesome. Now Prince Ambrose is now a formidable fighter, so very happy with that. We did think that he would make it, considering he was a skilled fighter at, what, the age of 11 or 12. I would have been disappointed if he didn't become a formidable fighter eventually. But obviously he's a very different character from Engar. Right, we have got a couple of other new characters who we're going to introduce. Where we've got Brandon Greystar. Not all of them are going to be introduced straight away. Some are going to be introduced a little bit later on in the episode, and you'll see why when we get to that. But we do have Brandon, who is Ambrose's best friend from a young age. Now, ignore the name Greystar for now. That's just his name for now, but it's going to be a bit more important later on, as you'll understand. And as you can see, he is the bastard son of King Theon, the Hungry Wolf. But nobody knows that other than Ambrose in story-wise. Obviously, we know that, as you can see. But he is an expert scientist. He's a trained fighter. He has green dreams. He's a bastard. He's quick, mystic, a gardener, a scholar, a hunter, diligent, temperate, erudite, content, erudite, however you say that. You know how bad I am for pronunciation, guys. Content, kind, just, brave, and trusting. So, yep, I have arranged a marriage for these, obviously, because we know what the courtiers are like for disappearing if we don't do that. And then we should have one more that I can introduce for now, and then the other guy, well, the other custom character will introduce a little bit later on. Where are you? There is one more somewhere, but for some reason he doesn't seem to be... Haha, here he is. Roxas Branch. Now he is the new young High Septon. He is a mastermind scholar, a Septon. He's an adventurer. He's a genius. He's a scholar. He's kind, charitable, erudite, diligent, trusting, and content. So unlike most of the High Septons and Septons we have had in Andalia's short reign, this guy's not a complete zealot lunatic who goes around buttering those of different religions and forcing them. This guy's very understanding of different religions, so that is going to be interesting as we go into Ambrose's reign as Andal Northmen now, rather than just Andals, and hopefully bringing the North together, and hopefully he will help with that. And he is now the new High Septon, as obviously the other High Septon was murdered under suspicious circumstances, which I'm sure we'll learn a little bit more about later on. But this guy performed the wedding, and Jonquil gave high praise for him, and he also found, obviously, Ambrose's new young bride. So Engar has given him the High Septon role. Okay, so Ambrose has a rival in Angai Silvereye. Now, I didn't know that, so that's interesting. The Silvereye, there's quite a few of the Silvereyes. We have, okay, he's got quite a few rivals by the looks of it, Angai Silvereye. He's friends with Prince Owen, but then he's rivals with Prince Ambrose and Prince Lionel and Ermin Salzar, so that's interesting. He has got a lot of siblings, as we can see, though. I might arrange some marriages between the Silvereyes and some more people throughout the realm. Wow, he's pretty good. The Christian Silvereye, 17 years old. Maybe we can arrange a marriage with somebody in our court. We still haven't married. Obviously, our oldest daughter is married to Lord Albert of Warrior's Watch. Who looks... Is he ill? He doesn't look in his best state. He's got the flu. I'm going to say he didn't look too sharp, but she's obviously got 2 children. She's 33 now. Still got amazing martial. Oh, she's pregnant as well, which is cool. But she's got 2 daughters now. Belena Morgoth, who is apparently ugly. She's pregnant with Sir Manfred Josso's son. Now, she doesn't look ugly at all to me, but whatever. But she's married, and then she's got a sister called Alison Morgoth, who isn't ugly, but she's literally got no traits at all, which is a bit disappointing. But yes, as we were saying about our children, we still have Princess Jane of Andalia, who's a bit of a scholar, ambitious type, patient, a family person, mastermind scholar, so we could marry her. So we could send her to the Sept of Faith of the Seven so that she could become a Septon, which would be interesting. I don't know if we should marry her off or do that. Engar would probably try and force that upon her, and I don't really think there's anybody we can marry her to. Most of the lords already have wives. Obviously, Lord Lancer's wife died, but he is remarried pretty sharply to Lady Grenna of Black Sheep Hills. He obviously has his daughter, Hestelle Lancer. Oh, so he's had a daughter with his new wife straight away. Obviously, his other wife, the poor cow, was broken on the rack by Theon Stark, which obviously sounds very, very painful. Oh, Davos Redguard has had a hell of a lot of children as well, as we can see now. So we've got a lot of guardianships and stuff like that that we need to sort out at some point. Let's get this war out of the way, and then I think we will do some. There we go. So Brandon is married to a northern girl. The Septon we obviously can't marry. And the other new character we married to our heir. So, but yeah, we'll get this war out of the way. And then we'll sort out a few more things. Allender is leading that host. Everybody else is back in Sevensport. Okay, Elena Bohr is now a trained fighter. Awesome. Gluttonous, greedy, and envious. Some nasty traits there for the young lady, but fair enough. Right, let's split our army in half once we arrive at Winterfell so we can try and trap this very annoying Stark army that just keeps avoiding us. So split in half. We'll spend 4,000 to Dawn Forest and the other 4,000 to Castle Kerwin. At least then we can trap this army whichever way it goes, as I'm getting very frustrated with it just keep avoiding us, and I just want to get this war out of the way for Silverreed, which we will leave under the control of House Fen, although we could give it to the other Fen. At the age of 23, your acquaintance Willem of Tarth was killed in personal combat. Don't really care what's going down in Tarth. Your acquaintance Lord Robwall has returned from the Battle of Castle Kerwin alive, but has suffered a very gruesome and horrific injury. Okay. Doesn't really concern us yet. He's not one of our bannermen yet, so why that concerns us, I don't know. Let's march on to Castle Kerwin, get that under siege. Once this battle's out of the way, that will hopefully give us the 100 war score there. We've got 75% war score now. And something I did notice is very interesting. Remember how we had the Horn of Winter blown? Well, there is very nearly a king beyond the wall. We've got High Chief Mikken, the Hunter of the Otherlands here, who's nearly controlled. I'm guessing he's at war with Hardhome by the looks of it. Attacking Chief of Hardhome, yes. So he looks like he's going to become king beyond the wall soon. And look at some of those traits that he's got. He's a Lightfoot leader. He's got a lisp, a wildling, formidable fighter, quick, a crow, okay, strong, brawny, socializer, hunter, a duelist, family person, stubborn, kind, ambitious, zealous, diligent, and just. And as we know, he has the Horn of Winter, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens up north. If they do decide to attack the north is very, very much weakened thanks to us. So it could work against us there with how much we have weakened at the north. And then down south, I noticed that Dawn, which is now obviously formed as one kingdom, is at war with the Reach in an invasion for the Reach. So it could be interesting to see what happens down there. The Reach could be taken over by the Dornish, which would be pretty interesting and pretty worrying. That would be one hell of a powerful kingdom. So we're going to keep our eyes on that, guys, and see what happens down there. But right, yes, let's finish off this war. As I said, I'll leave it forward and along to finish it off, and then we can sort out some guardianships for our young courtiers. Engar is now 64. I am working on a history and lore playlist series as well for the Knights of the North, where we'll go into a bit more detail about the important lords of Andalia, such as Engar and the Rosehearts and the Blooms and the Racks and the Lancers, and we'll find out more about their history, about the lore of Andalia, what it means to be an Andal Northman and all the culture. And so if you're interested in that sort of thing, obviously it won't be Crusader Kings 2 playthroughs, but it's just so that we can add a bit more depth and lore and history and more excitement to this series and make it a lot more interesting. So they will be coming soon at the end of Engar, as I'm going to have a Reign of King Engar video. And Pera Hornsby has died of severe stress at the age of 61. Our dear old friend Pera Hornsby, she was an amazing physician and scepter for us, but she has passed, so now we are going to need a new court physician, and we don't really have anyone who could do that at the moment. We could get our daughter to do it and make her be a scepter. That could be interesting. if we're not going to marry her off, we'll make her our court physician for now. She can serve the court. I may send her to become a scepter. Why not? That could be quite interesting. I think Engar probably, with all the children he's got, he probably would do something for the gods with one of them. Come on, can we please hurry up and let's send some to King's Course and try and siege these lands a bit quicker. We're only trying to get one domain, for God's sake, and it's taking forever. Obviously, the Riverlands in Vale are still split, as they split a few episodes ago. Our money has gone up a huge amount just at the beginning of this episode. It's crazy how much income we do make. Monthly balance plus 3 gold, okay. Well, nearly 4 gold. It's more than that, I think. Surely with how much it's just gone up, we can call up more banners if we want to. Command the household guard. Yeah, let's get them to defend, enforce my will. Improve my levies in Sevensport. Train the small boat. Time to drill your soldiers. How much do we need to assault this? 2,000. Do we need to... It's taking forever to siege these lands. We'll just forward it along so that we can get those 2 lands sieged as quick as possible, and then we'll go and attack that Stark force once again to finish them off. You notice Elena is acting very selfish while playing with other children. Who cares? I have better things to do. I will try and explain to Elena why being selfish is wrong. Okay, so they are trying to re-siege Winterfell. Once we've sieged Kerwin, we'll march back north and attack them and stop that from happening. And surely that's going to help us win this war. Has been a very long and draining war for nothing, pretty much. My young courtier has finished his education in military strategy and command. It seems he has learned all the basic skills required. Angai Silvereye. Let's see if we can arrange a marriage with him for somebody who is in our court. Jane's too old for him. Surely somebody else has got a daughter, though, that he will be able to marry in our court. We'll look around in a moment and try and pick one for him. I want to try and get the Silver Eyes and the Salazards and the Red Guards and the Flakes. Not the Red Guards. They're already landed. The Fire Hands, sorry, all land, and the Flakes as well. Brandon is currently under my control, and his relative, King Fionstock, is currently opposing us. Yeah, but we don't know that, so it's not his fault. Master of Coin, Sir Davos, has had some interesting ideas on how to improve the economy. Adopt his ideas, then. We can improve our economy. Our economy is already flying, but if we can make it even better, we're not going to turn that down, of course. Today in the market, I watched as a poor beggar took his bowl full of coins and went straight into the tavern to buy a drink. Perhaps mankind is unlovable after all. Yeah, but we're blind, so how did we see that? No more charity, loses a trait territory. It does not make sense. I must try to accept it. Gains the stress trait, which is probably going to help kill him off even quicker. Okay, there we go. We've won the siege for King's Course, so we'll march back to Winterfell. My liege, my work in Overton seems to have come to fruition. By bribing, cajoling, extorting, threatening and forging documents, I've managed to fabricate a claim on the lordship of Overton, presently held by Lord Joseph of Overton. I leave it up to you whether to press it or not. Use it. There we go. So we now have a claim on Overton, which is perfect, because that does have a very nice trade zone, as we know, from Pentos. We have one from Lys and Tyrosh already. Oh, and the lands up here of what would be Carhold look like they've now got a trade port, so that's interesting. If we can expand up there. Come on, have you not took Castle Kerwin yet? What's taking so long? At least we're going to attack that host in Winterfell, which will hopefully win this war for us. We'll assault this. It's only got 200 defenders, so as soon as we can assault, we'll do that. And it'll hopefully about finish the war off for us. Attempt assault. 73%. Where to now? What will that take us to 100 when we defeat the Stark host at Winterfell? Hopefully it will. There we go, a victory, and we have took Master Fionald of Wintertown prisoner, which doesn't really mean a lot, but right, let's march on to the Wolfswood then, and Kingsgrove if we're going to have to go siege more land. It's because they've got so much land, I think. We'll let him rot for now. Our money is improving loads already, as we can see. Faith of the Seven Uprising in the Riverlands against House Mud. Interesting. Okay, that's an easy assault, so that'll hopefully get us some decent war score. Your squire, John Roseheart, has finally become a man grown. His training under your guardianship coming to an end. As a knight, you can choose to knight young John. That is if you deem him worthy. Okay, he's giant, he's a trained fighter, slothful, shy, greedy, wrath, zealous, and stressed. And who's he getting married to? Rosamund Longthorpe, whoever you are. Yes, he has earned it. We will marry him. Knight him, not marry him. Your subject John has proven himself to be a fine warrior. You have him kneel before you and proceed to tap his shoulders with your sword. John of the House Roseheart, in the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the mother, I charge you to defend the young and innocent. In the name of the maid, I charge you to protect all women. In the name of the seven, I charge you to be just and honourable. Rise, Sir John. Right, have we nearly won this war now? Almost. If we can assault this again in another 2 days, that'll hopefully get us the victory near enough. We're having to siege so much land, it's painful. Let's march on to Acorn Grove then and get that under siege if we've got to keep going. Is Pine Seed independent? That's interesting. Looks like it is. Interesting. The Liddles have somehow gained independence. I'm not sure how they've done it, but they have. Once this war is over, we will have our mid POV. I'm going to be trying to do POVs in the middle of episodes from now on, where we learn a little bit more about other courtiers and lords around Andalia rather than just from Enger's point of view. So obviously, like we had the Racks last week, and we'll see who we've got this week, but then next week maybe we will have the Lancers or the Blooms or the Rosehearts or somebody else in court, who knows. Under my guidance, my young Ward Perban is slowly mastering the art of swordmanship. Okay, he probably shouldn't be with us. He wants a learning one. We'll go for struggle if he's under us anyway. Maybe he will get better at martial. I wish people would stop sending us their people to their kids to raise when they really shouldn't come to us. They should be going to other lords instead. Though somewhat dubious province, Lady Dahlia of Little Sister has presented me with evidence that is plotting treason against me. How should I respond? Denounce, giving me reason to arrest. Who is it? Cass. Oh, it's Brandon's missus, who's got very good diplomacy. I remember now, that's why I decided to marry him, to keep this information to myself for now. Right, I'm just going to forward along, guys, until we get this little war out of the way, because it's taking ages and it's probably a little bit dull for you guys, so. My young ward has finished her education in the intrigues of court. It is evident that she has excelled in her studies. 16 intrigue. Wow, she really has. Can we arrange a marriage between her and maybe one of the Silver Eyes? Kristen Silver Eyes 18. She's 16. Yeah, let's do that. We'll marry Kristen Silver Eye to her. Hopefully they'll make a good couple. House Boar. It was a house that was around, named House Boar, so I changed that sigil and gave them that nice boar instead on the orange field, which I thought looked a lot nicer than the boring random one that they had before. Right, I'll carry on finishing this war off. A daughter was born to Prince Ambrose of Andalia and Rennie Lanzo, named Violet 7-Star. Yeah, we'll keep that name. I quite like that, Violet 7-Star. Awesome, so we have a granddaughter. King Theon the Hungry Wolf has died, leaving King Robb the king in the north now. King Robb Stark, whose brothers are obviously Brandon Greystark and Prince Lawrence, who has disappeared. And this war is still not over, even though they've got hardly any men and we've sieged the majority of the north. This is getting a pain in the arse now. A daughter was born to Prince Lionel of Andalia and Miguel Sackley, named... No, I don't like that name. We'll go for a different name. Let's go random name. Sabrina, Shana, Eleanor, Alla, Shriner, Rowena, Violet, Amira, Eleanor, Mary, Freya. Yeah, let's go for Freya. That's interesting. Freya Sevenport. Nice old Scandinavian name. Okay, we've literally sieged all the north. How is this not over yet? My liege, my work in Effring seems to have come to fruition. By bribing, cajoling, extorting, threatening, and forging documents, I have managed to fabricate a claim on the lordship of Effring. Use it. I opened the stable door a bit quick and accidentally stumbled in on Mohor getting his first kiss. I suddenly realised Mohor is becoming a man. Mohor Snow, okay, whoever you are. Before anything happens, I should teach him about courtly love. Gains the trait chaste. Well, that's very in Engor's likeness to gain that. We've still not won this war. Let's fabricate a claim now on the Dreadfort, giving us a claim on most of the Bolton lands once we do so, which will be interesting. And finally, the war is over, so offer peace and force demands. King Enger's claim on Silverreed War has ended. King Enger of Andalia won. We have successfully seized the lordship of Silverreed after defeating King Robb Stark of the North. Shall this territory be attached to the personal domains of Sevensport, or shall Lord Bowen Fenn be confirmed as its rightful holder to ensure stability? Lord Bowen can swear fealty to me, just like the sisters did. Right, let's bring the men home to Sevensgard. Well, we can disband you where you are, but we'll bring the other army home. We now need a new ambition for Engel, which I don't really know what to do with you, because you're going to die very soon. We could expand by conquest. Become exilated among men. Procedure greater than 4,000. Well, we're not going to do that, are we? So we could expand realm by conquest once more, just to try and expand again as much as we can before Ambrose takes over. He is a lot less war focused. But first, we're going to be going up to the Hornwood to see what's been going on with with House Rack in a little cutscene. The Treaty of the Warrior's Watch. Gretchel climbs into bed with Rogar in the cool of the evening. She slides next to him. Young Geoffrey has been fed and is with the wet nurse for the night. Rogar asks, "My lady, it is time to tell me how you planted our seeds of freedom from the burdens of the clergy." Gretchel smiled. "I talked with my mother that finding the right road for Ambrose of the utmost importance." Gretchel slipped closer to her husband. "I found a rather perplexing septon. He seems to actually have a conscience." Gretchel runs her hand lightly across her lord husband's chest. "I sent him to seek out our king's bride of destiny, and it seems he actually found her." A comment that causes Rogar's head to cock to the side. As Gretchel wrapped a leg around Rogar's, he asks, "This still doesn't explain how and why you married Estion to a Valyrian girl that is already with child." Gretchel kisses Rogar lightly and whispers in his ear, "Then let me tell you." In the halls of Castle Hornwood, a septon is making his way to the main chamber. Sitting at the great table is Lady Rack, signing letters and giving orders. The holy man waits politely for her to notice him. "Good day, Septon. What brings you here?" The Septon steeled himself. He knew the reputation of the master of this castle, but he knew that the gods would protect him. "My lady, I have something to ask of you. It is of vital importance." Lady Gretchel stayed silent, which the holy man interpreted as a sign to continue further. "My name is Septon Roex, and I am on need of a benefactor for a pilgrimage to the Old Lands. I understand your husband is less than kind to my brethren, but I assure you my motives are as pure as the maiden." Lady Gretchel puts down her quill, stands up from the tables, and motions to her handmaidens, then to the septon. "Join me in my private chambers, your holiness, for if you can perform a task for me, I may fund your journey." Gretchel has a nice plate of cheese and wine awaiting them both. "Make yourself at ease, your holiness." Roex cautiously takes a piece and puts it in his mouth. "Is this a yes, my lady? I am the wife of the hand, a niece of the king. I can grant you funds for your journey, but I need a bride for young Ambrose. The king wants to find his young lady and has had a vision of the maiden reborn, and I want you to find her." Roex's eyes widened in shock. "The maiden, you say?" He quickly bowed. "It will be done. My husband has little faith in septons, and I have not seen much that would change that in my life, but if you successfully accomplish this for me, I will make you High Septon of Andalia." Roex nods and bows once more before walking out of the chamber. He will fulfill his mission for Andalia, for King Aengar, for the gods. Warrior's Watch. In the courtyard of the castle, a silver-haired figure is pouring himself a glass of Dornish red. Lord Damien Shycross begins to pace back and forth. "Where are they? They were to be here by now." Lord Morgoth and two guards arrive. "Welcome, honoured guests. Allow me to introduce the Lady of the Warrior's Way, Lady Gretchel Rack, and her son and heir, Estion." Gretchel enters dressed at her best, and with all the courtly manners she had learned greeted Lord Shycross. Damien turns to her and gives a warm smile. "Good day, my lady." He kisses her hand. "Why, thank you, my lord. You are most gracious," Gretchel curtsies. "Let the prospective couple meet while we discuss terms, my lord. I'm sure Eleanor is just as anxious to meet her husband as Estion is to meet her. Servants come in and set new plates of food for all to sample." Damien seats himself and begins to eat a grape. "She is indeed, though I am certain it is more so the stress of life growing within her belly." The good Septon informed of her situation, and House Rack is willing to allow any female child born to bear the Rack name, but a male child will be raised as Shycross. Gretchel smiled and toasted Damien. "As for the matter of bringing Valyrian blood into a great house of Andalia, there is a much higher price. The priest also informs me you want your rights of incest. This will not be easy to get my husband to agree to." "That is correct, my lady. After all, we need to maintain our divine features." Damien chuckles and sips more wine. "Now there is the matter of the other septon, Septon Roex. What is your position on their request for right of incest? I will need your approval before I can get the Lord Hand to agree. There would be a need to restrict it to pure Valyrians only." Roex is quiet, clearly uncomfortable with this situation. If it is a remnant of their culture, then it is out of the faith's control. There will, however, be a price for the Valyrians to marry brother to sister, uncle to niece, mother to son, and so forth. Where is Estrion's dowry, Lord Damien? Gretel asked curtly. Damien claps his hands and 2 servants bring in a chest full of gold. This is the bride's price, Damien stated. The rest is for her to decide what to do with. Then we are in agreement. We will take Eleanor into our house, and you will gain your peculiar custom. Septon Roex, you will officiate this ceremony and wed the couple forthwith. Then you will be sent to Sevensport with an escort to take your place as High Septon of Andalia. You personally officiate every single incestuous marriage and then keep the record secret. Am I understood, High Septon Roex? Roex bows once more. It was starting to annoy Damien, this holy man's excessive humility. It shall be done. Lord Damien, shall we attend a wedding? Now in the afterglow of passion, Gretel smiled and Rogar was both happy and confused. Then she reached over and uncovered next to their bed was a beautiful sword. I grant my husband, the greatest knight in all of Andalia and lord of the warrior's way, a Valyrian steel sword, a gift from a most grateful daughter-in-law. Then Gretel spoke with the giddy of a young girl. Best of all, you now have leverage on the High Septon of Andalia. The clergy will think long and hard before becoming a burden, and our Septon Roex will see to it. Rogar kissed his wife more passionately than ever. Daisy may have bore my heir, but you may be my favourite wife, Gretel. But there is one thing, how did Roex find Ambrose's bride? Gretel looked at him with a strange smile. I honestly have no idea. All I know is I convinced my mother, who convinced King Aengar, who believes her to be the maiden reborn, Gretel sighed. We will have the Queen's confidant as our daughter-in-law and leverage on the High Septon. We can control the kingdom, my lord. And with a snort of laughter, Rogar drifted off to sleep as Gretel smiled inwardly at her victory and drifted off herself. Okay, so obviously Gretel, our niece, has been plotting as we thought she was in the last episode, and they have decided to marry Sir Estian Rack to the sister of the Valyrians that came over the Shy Crosses, and so they are basically plotting behind Aengar and the Seven Stars' backs to try and get as much influence and power as possible. It's not so much Rogar as it is his ambitious wife, our niece, who we knew was very ambitious, just like her brother, and she's not quite the same person as her mother. They have had 2 more children now, but yes, as part of the bargain that they struck by letting the Valyrians marry into their family and keep customs, they was rewarded with the Valyrian steel sword at Daybreak. But this marriage will be kept secret away from Aengar, as we know how much Aengar hates Valyrians and such. So it'll be interesting to see what developments do take place up there. We need a new Septon. Let's go with Septon Snow. Form charity in Andalia, please, for now. So Andalia is looking in great shape now. Let's bring those men home. We do have a claim on a lot of the Bolton lands, but we'll wait to press all those claims together when we get a chance. King Ambrose of the Rivers and Hills declared second Riverland Cracklaw Point Vesselation War on Lord Geoffrey the Gallant. Okay, interesting. But let's bring our men home. Old Aengar is now 68 and he's still not dead somehow. Stressed, headache, diarrhea, blind, and yeah, his health can't be great, surely. He's got to be in pretty bad shape. I still don't know how he just seems to be carrying on and carrying on. But yeah, we need to bring the troops back home. We've got an idle council member. It's our spy. Well, let's build a spy network in the Dreadfort. Why not, if we're going to be heading up that way pretty soon. Our money is just growing and growing and growing still, so at least we're going to leave a massive treasury behind for Ambrose when we finally do kick the bucket. Let's disband those troops. Today my nephew Sir Lennox asked me for a fief of his own to govern. Specifically, he would like the castle of White Harbour. White Harbour? Isn't that our... Oh, that's the new castle that's been built. Very well. I promised to arrange it. I mentioned the wall. Yes, very well. We'll give you the new castle that has been built. We do need to change the name from White Harbour, though. Our money is just flying up, look. Every day we're gaining 2 or 3 gold. It's ridiculous. One of your jailers has brought word from the cells that he says that captive Master Filbert was curtly set free during the night by a small band of men. In their desperate escape from the castle, one of them was captured and after questioning revealed they were in the employ of Lord Harris Norrie. Okay. Interesting. Not that he really matters at all, to be fair. I forgot that we even had the prisoner, if I'm honest. Look into Dragon Dreams. We don't have Dragon Dreams. Why the hell has that popped up? No idea. Still have a lot of money though. Maybe we should do something. Maybe we should host a tourney or something like that. Just to do something. Or we could hold a feast. Let's hold a feast and invite all the vassals of the realm. This will probably be Engor's last feast before he finally kicks the bucket. He's got to kick the bucket soon, surely. My half-brother, Lord Pattaya, has not been himself lately. I will call for a physician at once. Is he the Lord of Rosbear? Yes, he is. He does have his sibling, Brynden Rosbear. I did want to invite them to court. Can we invite them? No? Sir Davos smiles at you. My liege, I have noticed your mind seems to drift off whenever we discuss monetary issues. I believe that to make things interesting, one must be introduced to the subject where it is directly relevant to oneself. Perhaps you would like to join me tomorrow on a full day's work. Yeah, sure, that'd be interesting. Why not? Sir Davos starts the day off collecting taxes. Some people frown and complain when they give away their earnings. Sir Davos calmly explains why taxes are collected and manages to appease the complainers. Earning trust is earning gold, 50 prestige, or maybe we could squeeze them for some more, gain 13 gold, but we lose the charitable trait. So no, we'll go for the prestige. Today, Sir Davos brings you to the nearest construction site to evaluate progress. Sir Davos notices that the builders are lagging behind the agreed schedule and proceeds to question them. The builders complain about the weather and want more pay to cover the delay. Sir Davos looks over your way, awaiting a response. We will hold our end of the deal when you hold yours. I guess one cannot predict the weather. Clear the site. You will never work again. We'll hold our end of the deal if you hold yours. A friend has come to visit Sir Davos this evening. The 3 of you have a good time discussing your experiences over a fine evening meal. The visitor nods at you, saying, how lucky you are, Davos, to have a liege that understands your work. This cooperation should benefit the both of you. It's been interesting, more so than many other things I've tried. It wasn't for me. I hated it. No, we'll gain 2 stewardship. Why not? Your Master of Coin, Sir Davos, has grave news. Part of the castle where the guests would be staying would have to be repaired, or else he couldn't guarantee the guests' safety. Just repair it. I don't care about the cost. The best part about preparing for it, we'll spend lavishly on this feast for all of our courtiers and all of our vassals. Most of the preparations of the feast have been made. Now I only have to send the invitations. At the age of 51, your acquaintance Jonas was hanged on the orders of the... Okay, I don't even know it. The travelling dancers first danced for us, and while dancing to a fast and glad tune which made me want to dance, invited everyone to join them. I danced until I panted and my face was red. Then I had to sit down and rest for a while, watching the dancers and the courtiers having more fun than in a long time. How did you watch? You're blind. I'd like to hire them for my feast, but you're blind. Anger, you did not watch it, did you, at all? How old's Ambrose now? Because the time he actually gets to inherit, he's going to be well old. He's 25, okay. And he's gained the chase trait as well. And he's had a child, obviously Violet, who we found out about. The guests have finally arrived in Sevensport. They have been given bread and salt as their guest right. All now is ready. The cooks have worked day and night preparing the foods, and our stocks of brown ale have been replenished, and the castle has never looked lovelier. Welcome to my feast. Lawrence Flake has used his attendance to the feast in Sevensport to present a petition for justice before the court. He claims that Edward Houghton sullied his honour by having insolent relations with his wife behind his back, and demands a recompense for this slight. Edward must be arrested. I will order Edward to pay. Edward is clearly not guilty of these accusations. He's crippled, mate, so I don't think he did do that. Some of my guests did not seem satisfied with the food, but I would never have thought one of them would complain out loud. Lawrence is said to have a lot of nasty stuff about the food. Well, that's because we've probably just upset you, so that his opinion of us has just dropped massively because of that. Your son Ambrose Sevenstar has presented a petition requesting a commission to press sailors into service at Enger Hotspur and the king's other ships, as well as the petition's own barges. Agreed, you will have commission, given the following effects: galleys plus 20%, levy reinforcement plus 20%, pay 10 gold to Prince Ambrose. Yeah, okay, Ambrose. Not a bad idea. Ow! And that's it. In the middle of our feast, we've just died. We have a new heir. Your character now dies. You will play as Violet Sevenstar. Your father, King Enger Sevenstar, has died, and now it falls to you to decide whether to make a funeral a big and special event, or just keep it a small, private one. My father deserves to be honoured with a funeral, of course. Of course we're going to have a huge funeral. All the lords and ladies of the realm are invited. We're going to have one hell of a funeral to honour Aengar, and we're going to obviously have a look back in another video at his reign. King Aengar has taken his last breath at age 68. He died of dehydration from diarrhea. It caught up with him in the end then after 25 years. Ever victorious on the battlefield, Aengar was known in his time as an able commander and leader of men, a man respected by his enemies. He is with the gods now. King Ambrose, beautiful beyond words. Ambrose's appearance will have foreign dignitaries grovelling at his feet. Long live King Ambrose. So obviously we now have Ambrose as the king with our daughter Ebert. We have our two brothers and lots of other members of the House 7-star, but we won't look into any of Ambrose's ambitions and traits and stuff like that until the next episode, when we start our new reign as the second king of Andalia, King Ambrose, the first of his name. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as well as the series so far and the reign of King Aengar. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new here. And I hope, well, thank you all for carrying on, watching through this journey, through the journey of King Aengar. But this is just the beginning. Don't think that it's going to end. We have got hundreds of years of House 7-star and Andalian rule, and who knows what the future of this series will bring. Thank you once again for watching now, and hopefully I'll see you very soon for the start of King Ambrose's reign.